Apple, Google, NVIDIA, Broadcom, and Tesla, $18 trillion. And if you want an America, which is just going to put more trillions of dollars in my district, do nothing. If you want an America that is going to help families and kids where I grew up in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, where Fairless works, Steel shut down, which is going to help people in Ohio and Michigan, then we've got to make sure that the AI revolution is pro-American citizen and pro-worker and not just pro-tech billionaires. The guy from Silicon Valley is saying this. You've got people like Bannon and Tucker Carlson and all saying this. And yet my biggest criticism of Trump, my fundamental criticism is he's just got these tech billionaires that are saying, okay, let's sell chips to China. Let's have a White House ballroom. Let's have AI accelerate. And I don't think that's the forgotten American.
All right, Congressman Ro Khanna, it's good to see you again. The one Democrat who will respond to, not just talk to me, but respond even when we put these requests out. So
back in the hot seat.
Here
I'm
we
a
go.
glutton for punishment.
And look at us. We look like long lost brothers. We're dressed exactly the same. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you. And
yes.
I appreciate the text because people don't realize it's not always like, hey, how are you doing? Nice to see you. It's, what the hell are you thinking? You know? And I think that's healthy. You're
Yes.
supposed to have spirited debate and conversation. And I don't understand why we've all retreated to our corners where we're so afraid of the slightest disagreement or criticism.
Yeah, well, you mentioned to me right before we started that the last time we did this, we had agreement and disagreement on a wide variety of things. Of course, the one thing that went viral was the trans thing, which we have some disagreement on. Doesn't really matter. Let me ask you this to start, since you are the only Democrat who will talk to me. What is going on with your party?
We're right now in a better place than last time I came on. I mean, we won in Virginia, we won in New Jersey, we won in New York. We
Relatively blue places, little purplish in Virginia.
True, but when you look at the swing in the Latino vote, in the Asian American vote, in the suburban vote, a lot of folks have been coming back to the Democrats. I think it's because of the economy. You know, the president promised that he would lower prices on day one. And those prices just haven't come down. People are anxious about AI, about AI taking truck drivers' jobs, warehouse jobs, customer service jobs. As a guy from Silicon Valley, I'll tell you that there's concern. Even Tucker Carlson or Bannon, they said, "What are you doing just hanging out with these tech billionaires in the White House? What are we doing on AI? What are we doing to protect workers?"
And what do you think he's not doing that he should be doing? I mean, AI is coming and the robots are coming whether we like it or not.
Well, the AI is coming whether we like it or not. But the question is, are you going to be on the side of the tech billionaires or are you going to be on the side of ordinary workers? Like, we should protect truck driving jobs. There are 3 million or so truck drivers. I don't want to see 3 million people displaced. We should have truck drivers on trucks. We should make sure that we have a vision that says companies need to hire people if they're being displaced in the company itself and bargain with workers.
So if technology is going to innovate and that we can do this cheaper and more efficiently and all of these things, because I like truck drivers. I used to have an AM radio show. It was truck drivers calling all the time. I found them to be incredibly thoughtful and smart, and they're out there listening all the time. But no one is actually guaranteed a job. So if technology is going to make these things more efficient, where does the government come in to force somebody to, you have to have that job, even though this company can do it more efficiently and cheaper and everything else?
It's a fair question. I mean, a lot of times planes can basically fly automatically. I still like the fact that we've got a pilot. And a lot of the pilots are there in case there's something that goes wrong. Yeah. So I think you can...
I'm asking you more at a philosophical level than even a functional government level.
Look, I look at it as the Industrial Revolution in Britain. For 60 years, you had massive wealth generation. Britain became the richest country in the world. And yet the working class and middle class were horrendous conditions because technology was simply used for eliminating jobs, no consideration for workers. Where workers started to build is when the technology was used not just to eliminate jobs, but to make people more productive. So my view is we need a government incentives that help us use technology in a way that's going to make people more productive, not just to displace labor. And we can talk about how to do that.
Sure. So what is that like in the example of the truck drivers that you used? Knowing that we can automate the truck, knowing that there will be drones so that It's not a human that's going to have to literally drop off the package, knowing that these things all exist and are going to continue to exist. So lay out your version that would be more human friendly, or
yeah. Well, I would say you still have the truck driver on the truck to do maintenance, to do drop-offs, to make sure that you're dealing with edge cases, that we should have a human in the loop. And maybe it makes the driving easier. Maybe it makes things less burdensome. Or in other cases, if you have a customer service representative, okay, now you're using the AI to be better at your job. But I don't want to be fighting with my phone every time where I'm calling a customer service agent to get to a human voice. So right now we have a tax code that incentivizes automation. You basically get a deduction for depreciation. But if you hire a person, you got to pay healthcare, you've got to pay payroll taxes. I would reverse the tax code to make it possible to hire people instead of hiring robots. So you have an incentive, don't have a disincentive to hire people. The second thing is I'd have human in the loop regulations. You want to make sure human beings are there. If you are going to have some form of automation, workers should share in the productivity gains and the profits. Those are a few ideas, but in general, I think that the AI revolution has to be for people, not just for all the money going into my district. We got $18 trillion, David, in my district. $18 trillion. 1/3 of the entire U.S. stock market is in 50-mile radius in my district. And Apple, Google,
Although, as you mentioned right before we started, a lot of those guys are moving pretty close to where I live right now.
Some of them are moving to where you live towards the tax breaks. But the companies are still there, right? Apple, Google, NVIDIA, Broadcom, and Tesla, $18 trillion. And if you want an America, which is just going to put more trillions of dollars in my district, do nothing. If you want an America that is going to help families and kids where I grew up in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, where Fairless works, steel shut down, which is going to help people in Ohio and Michigan, then we've got to make sure that the AI revolution is pro-American citizen and pro-worker and not just pro-tech billionaires. The guy from Silicon Valley is saying this. You've got people like Bannon and Tucker Carlson and all saying this. And yet my biggest criticism of Trump, my fundamental criticism is he's just got these tech billionaires that are saying, okay, let's sell chips to China. Let's have a White House ballroom. Let's have AI accelerate. And I don't think that's the forgotten American.
Let me ask you something. So you've mentioned Tucker and Bannon a couple of times. I am seeing a horseshoe version of politics here. Do you have anything negative to say about Tucker Carlson or Steve Bannon or some of these guys on the right anymore?
Of course. I mean, we disagree on a lot of things. I mean, we disagree on immigration. I mean, I'm not sure they would have supported the 1965 Immigration Act that allowed my parents to come to the United States. We certainly disagree on issues. I mean, I very much condemn the Groypers and anti-Semitism on the right. I don't know where they stand on that, so I don't want to put words in their mouth, but I would be unequivocal in condemning that.
So when you spoke at that, what was it, the Arab American conference, and they were laughing about October 7th and all that, you condemn those people that you were on stage with?
I absolutely unequivocally condemn the people who said that October 7th was in any way justified. It was horrific. It is wrong.
Which they said on stage just a few minutes after you were...
Just to be clear, I spoke at that conference. I spoke at the conference for 3 days. I mean, for 1 hour in a 3-day conference. They spoke at a future panel. Yeah. I didn't know about that panel until I saw the clips. When the clip came out, I totally, unequivocally condemn it. Hamas is a terrorist organization. October 7th was a terrorist attack. There is no place for Hamas in Gaza or the West Bank. Now, I've disagreed, as you know, with how Netanyahu's gone about it, but I have unambiguously condemned anti-Semitism. It was awful, the anti-Semitism attack in Australia, where you just see Jews being targeted and blown up. We don't know yet with Brown what happened, but the professor there taught Jewish studies, immigration studies, and let's see what comes out there. There has been a rise of anti-Semitism, and I fundamentally reject it. And I have always stood for two states. There are people who disagree with me because I've called for a Palestinian state, non-Hamas, but I've also said that Israel as a Jewish democratic state has a complete right to security and existence.
Ever wonder why your brain feels foggy even when you're eating clean and staying active? It might not be burnout, it could be parasites. Groundbreaking research from Dr. Alan McDonald has revealed a direct link between chronic parasitic infections and neurological conditions like multiple sclerosis. These hidden invaders can trigger inflammation, cause nerve damage, and contribute to long-term cognitive decline. That's why a full-body cleanse at least once a year isn't just a trend, it's a necessity. Enter the Wellness Company. Their all-new Cleanse combo brings together ivermectin and mebendazole, the gold standard solution trusted by professionals. The medical grade duo. This medical grade duo is designed to eliminate harmful parasites, support your immune system, and protect your brain and body from the inside out. No trendy gimmicks, just real science and serious results. Fill out a short intake form and get a 3-month supply delivered right to your door. Maha is here, and the Wellness Company is leading the charge, making hard-to-access medications available digitally so you can take control of your health. Just visit twc.health/Rubin and use code Rubin to save $90 and get free shipping. Change your body, sharpen your mind, feel like yourself again, starting today.
All right, so there's some stuff that obviously you disagree with those guys. I'm glad to hear that, I suppose.
Do you disagree with them?
Oh, absolutely. I think, well, Tucker particularly, I think he's gone off the deep end completely. Right. I mean, he's also saying consistently horrible things about me personally. So,
is he?
But we can let that there. I don't need to waste time on Tucker with you. What do you want to see over the next? I've been having mostly Republicans in here, where I'm asking them, okay, what do you guys need so that the midterms don't turn into a bloodbath for the Republicans? So you on the Democrat side of that, what do you want to see so that it goes well for you guys in the midterms?
I want to see us focused on forgotten Americans. I want us to say the system has been rigged, that a lot of towns were hollowed out. A lot of working families haven't had a fair shot at the American dream. We're going to be the party that brings good jobs. We're going to be the party that lowers healthcare costs, childcare costs, housing costs. We're going to be the party that brings back the American dream. And by the way, the system was rigged against the working class in this country. We're the party that's going to take on that rigged system.
I saw over the last couple of weeks, obviously, we've had these Venezuelan boats coming in. Yeah. And, my position basically has been this is low-grade warfare if you're just, bringing in all these drugs into our country. And to me, it's an 80-20 issue for Trump, where I don't think that the average person in America cares if you blow up narco-terrorists. I saw you wanted to either haul Hegseth in front of Congress about the double tap and all that. I don't think people really care. And people can say that's cold or something. If someone's bringing drugs on a boat into America, we have had, I think, 50,000 fentanyl deaths last year alone. We've seen what it's done to our cities. I just don't think people care. I don't care that much about narco-terrorists that are flooding our streets with drugs. Do you see it as a winning issue to defend the quote-unquote rights of people who are bringing drugs into our country?
So there are two different issues with Venezuela. One is the fact that we're increasing our Marines in the region. We're in Puerto Rico and other places. We're sending more destroyers and have a Navy buildup. We're sending bombers and our fighter planes, and we're basically putting pressure to try to get a regime change with Maduro. My view is that 80%, 70% of the American people are sick and tired of regime change wars, don't want us spending our resources in that way. They dislike Maduro. They hate his policies. They think he's a dictator. They don't think it's our business. They rather we spend money here at home. In terms of...
That's separate. I can get on board a lot of that, actually, although I think it's mostly pressure. I don't think we're flipping the regime, but that's different than bringing drugs into our country.
So a lot of the focus, I think that the two have been conflated in terms of, in my view, of how people are talking about it, because there's fundamental concern is stop giving money to Argentina and currency swaps. Stop focusing on Maduro. Start focusing on Western Pennsylvania. Start focusing on Warren, Ohio. Like that, to me, is the essence of America first, right? That's, I think, where a lot of the criticism comes from. On the boat,
but wouldn't you say that blowing up boats that are bringing drugs into those places? I mean, you grew up in Pennsylvania. I mean, they have a huge Philadelphia has a huge problem with fentanyl and drugs. They and do. All these things.
But as you know, because I know you're very thoughtful about these things, a lot of that's coming from China into Mexico and across into the United States. Venezuela is the cocaine trade. It's the narcotics trade. It's not fentanyl. And to the extent we're negotiating with China, we should get them to schedule the precursors to fentanyl as narcotics. And I've been critical of the president's deal, but if he can achieve that in getting those precursors scheduled, that would be significant progress. On the boat strikes, though, look, we are not Russia. We are not Xi Jinping. We are Americans. We have a higher standard. And when there's a boat and there are two people who are surrendering, saying, look, we're done, we don't want to fight, Americans don't blow them up. Do other countries blow them up? Yes. Are we?
So have you seen the classified video that has not come out yet? That seems to be what people are saying. I don't know. I haven't seen the classified video.
I'm actually going to see it this week. Apparently, I think Hexet actually today is coming with Rubio to the Congress, and I'm on the Armed Services Committee. But I just think Americans, we believe we're a nation of faith. We're a nation founded on ideals of, I'm of Hindu faith, but we're founded on ideals of Christianity, of Judaism, of the Bible. Most people believe in the human dignity of every person. We don't like killing people without process, and certainly if they're unarmed, right? And I think we as a country hold ourselves to a higher standard. And Americans are in my view, we're a very decent, caring people, and we don't like it to just be blowing people up if we don't have to.
Right. I think all of that is true, except you can blow up drug traffickers, and I just don't think most people care. They're killing our young people and they're destroying our cities. And so to me, this is, I understand that's why I asked you in the philosophical sense. I understand the position, but I think in realpolitik, to me, this one is just a win for Trump. Again, neither one of us have seen the video, and I suppose if it comes off that this guy's waving a white flag and everything else, it might change the optics a little bit. But even that, I don't think so. But we'll see.
We'll see. I think that it's that second strike of two people saying, look, we want to surrender, that gives Americans a sense of unease. And there are Republicans on the Armed Services Committee who have had unease. And, that to me has been really refreshing, because it makes me think, we really take our responsibilities seriously as a nation. It's like G.I. Joes. We think of ourselves as the good guys. We don't want to be seen as doing bad stuff in the world.
Oh, I wish I had a great G.I. Joe reference for that. That would be something. Well, when I offer you a little advice for the Democrats then, which is then go ahead and do more to clean up the cities so people see less fentanyl folds, see less drug mayhem. Philadelphia is a disaster right now. Many of these cities are. If they did more on that, and there was less of the obvious video that comes out every day, then people might be more sympathetic to the argument of, we shouldn't kill all the drug dealers who are coming in. I think we can probably agree on that.
If you're going to say that we have an issue of an open drug culture in some of our cities and that Democrats need to do more to take that on, I'd say yes. And look at Dan Lurie, for example, in San Francisco. I don't know if you followed his career. He came in, he's got 70% approval ratings. He's the first mayor in the last 10, 15 years who said, you know what, we can't just have an open drug culture near the Giants Stadium. I'm going to crack down on it. We can't just have people who are unhoused having a drug culture. So, yeah, we need reform mayors, and Dan Lurie is a great example.
Wait, was that your way of saying that Gavin Newsom's been an abject disaster? Come on. That's kind of what you were saying.
Look, I think Dan Lurie's been far more effective as a mayor than Emma Gavin was there years ago.
Could it have possibly been worse under Gavin for the drugs and the homelessness and everything else?
He was there so many years ago. But look,
it all started under him.
But there have been governance issues in California. We don't build enough housing. We did not do enough on the issue of homelessness. We have not done enough on the issue of basic public safety and drug culture. We've got high unemployment. That's one of the highest unemployments of the country. We've got to do more on jobs. We've got to do more on lowering costs. I know they always say, well, California has got the biggest economy. We've got the most manufacturing. We've got the most patents. Yeah, but what about the working class? We got to make sure that we don't have the highest cost of living, and we've got to reduce that cost of living. So I'm all for reform in Sacramento.
I think that was your way of sticking it to Gavin Newsom. So I'm going to shake your hand and thank you for coming in.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
If you're craving more honest and thoughtful conversations about politics, check out our politics playlist right here. And if you don't want to miss any future videos, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell.